I don't really understand the backlash that Crowbcat's video's been getting. The one about Resident Evil 4. He clearly shows in his description that he wants you to draw your own conclusions. He's just also declaring the remake to be soulless in the video title. I don't see a conflict there, you know? He honestly does a great job of showing why the remake is inferior in every way, and I have to agree that it really is soulless. He's showing that the background sounds are louder in the original game, which means that there's more atmosphere. Louder is better. It's like if there's a tornado in your hometown and you can hear it in the distance, isn't it better to be literally inside the tornado where it's much louder? It's a much more immersive experience. And sure, oh God. Sure, you could always go into the audio menu, lower the sound effects and volumes, and give a significant boost to the levels of background sounds and music, but that takes like 15 whole seconds. And what if you don't have fingers, you know? RE4 Remake being ableist over here, you know? Why isn't anyone talking about that? But it's not just the sound, it's the color. See, RE4 Original was the very first video game to be brown. Just really desaturated and brown. And for like 15 years, all big video games were desaturated and brown. And why? Because that's how you give a game soul. Colors are not immersive. If we take this image here and desaturate it and make it brown, now it's 100 times more immersive and interesting to look at. Like this village comparison right here. I mean, sure, to an idiot, they might look incredibly similar and spooky and brown, but the first one is more brown, so it's way better. Crowbcat shows plenty of great examples of how this game isn't brown and desaturated, and that should convince you immediately that the remake is literally soulless, and no one working on it cared at all about what they were making. Not the artist, not the programmer, not the director, not one person cared. Even the save screen has been ruined. Sure, they're both showing a typewriter, making typewriter sounds, showing save data, and playing the exact same song, but don't you see how much more brown the original is? Another problem he's showing here is that there's literally nothing to be gained by reimagining the original game with a more serious, grounded tone. We see Leon and Ashley running away from cultists hand in hand, and Ashley not even hesitating to jump through a second-story glass window, which is totally fine for a 20-year-old daughter of a president to do, honestly. And now we're treated to a scene that establishes her fear of injuring herself from the fall and making the decision to trust Leon, a man she doesn't know at all, taking a leap of faith in the face of danger. It's like they're trying to develop Ashley into a semi-complex, believable character. And that's such a soulless, uninspired decision on part of the developers. The characters, the character interactions have been destroyed as well. Ashley doesn't accuse Leon of looking up her skirt anymore, which for me personally ruined the entire immersive experience, even more than the lack of brown and I had to finally turn off the game, put my pants back on, and find something else to do with my day. When Luis meets Ashley in the original, he comments about the size of her boobies, and Ashley takes offense. Now when they meet, he calls her Leon's little señorita in a suggestive tone, which also causes her to take offense, because saying it in that tone changes the literal translation from young lady to little honey. So yeah, sure, we are basically getting the same exact scene in the remake, but he doesn't specifically mention her boobies, and God, I'm so fucking angry. Just look at what they did to the castle bridge crossing moment. You used to be running away from a horde of enemies chasing you down in an exciting sequence after the Mendez fight. And now you just cross the bridge normally under no pressure at all. What the hell? I mean, yeah, sure, there was a brand new sequence before the Mendez fight, running away from a horde of enemies and Mendez himself in an exciting sequence that actually has more tension and interaction. But it's not happening exactly here at the bridge like the original. So I don't care, and it's fucking stupid. Now that we're at the castle, we can see that it too is soulless. Hold on. Like, we actually have the opposite problem in regards to colors, because now the castle is actually more brown. And as we know, brown is better and more immersive. But there is actually a more immersive color tone than desaturated and brown. And that's desaturated and gray. The original castle environments are gray, not brown. Now they're kind of brown, but they aren't gray like they used to be. And that's what I call soulless design. The castle used to have this totally flat lighting. There were torches all around, but the rooms didn't look like they were lit by torches. They looked like they were lit by a bunch of fluorescent bulbs hidden somewhere. In the remake, they're actually using modern lighting techniques to make the torchlights realistically light the environments. No hidden bright secret lighting changing the color of the room into solid gray like it should be. It looks like shit. Just like in the terrible Resident Evil 1 remake, when they tried to light rooms more realistically compared to the flat lighting of the original. The remake just looks so much worse. Everyone agrees on that. Talk about a soulless remake, right? The voice acting section shows so many examples of how awful the character changes are. There's no slow motion backflip in the scene with Ada, even though the rest of the scene plays out basically the same. There's no slow motion backflip, so I'm out. The original Mendez is speaking in a low, intimidating voice with a strong Spanish accent, and the new Mendez is also speaking in a low, intimidating voice with a strong Spanish accent. But the difference is, the new Mendez voice actor doesn't sound like he has his mouth pressed up against the microphone, and we know it's much more immersive when an actor's dialogue blows out the speakers on your CRT television. Plus, this image here is way more desaturated and brown, so it wins by default. Now we get to talk about the merchant. In the original, the merchant opens his jacket to show you his products, and the new merchant opens his jacket to show you his products from behind a table where he can lay things out for you. What a downgrade. He used to make comments to you in the menu screen, and now he makes some of those same comments to you outside the menu. And you can't shoot him anymore, completely ruining the experience of a new player that hadn't saved the game in a while and ended up killing the merchant because they were curious, and now they have to go back an hour and a half to get back here just so they don't have to continue the game without the merchant. That was fun! It's so sad that no one is going to have that experience anymore, you know? Oh, this is getting kind of cold. It's still good though. There's a lot of terrible animation changes too, as he shows in the video. Like how the suplex would ridiculously make someone's head explode. Now it doesn't, and that's a terrible change. Never mind that this game has introduced a new mechanic that allows you to prevent plaga hatching by stabbing a transforming enemy on the ground, and the suplex causing their heads to explode would mean that you've lost your opportunity to use this mechanic, meaning that you would actually be potentially screwing yourself over by using the suplex. But listen, I'm not here to debate context with you. I'm here to show you that these changes are bad no matter what justification there may be. The dog death animation is probably the best example of how this game has no soul. See, the dog used to viciously chew Leon's neck apart for several seconds, while Leon basically made no sound at all, because he's a man, and men don't scream when they're in pain. Well, now the dog viciously chews his neck apart for several seconds, while Leon screams. Talk about character assassination. The Regenerator is shown here grabbing Leon and then stabbing him with his spikes. And in the remake, the Generator is grabbing Leon and stabbing him with his spikes. And I can't... Wait, these are the same thing. Shit. What can I be upset about? There's a way to escape the grab if you have a knife, and I think that's stupid. It's better for the player to just die instantly with no option. There. Yeah, I think that works. And how about the Krauser cutscene? You know how everyone loves QTEs and they're incredibly grateful to RE4 and God of War for making them a staple of game design for like 2 generations? Well, the new Krauser cutscene doesn't make you hit random button prompts to continue the cutscene. What gives? And they really screwed up this moment by not having Leon do crazy inhuman backflips. Just like Krauser. I mean, I suppose you could say that portraying Leon in a more realistic way, confined by human athletic limitation, is a good way to show the contrast between a normal person and a 30-foot jump-capable, plaga-enhanced superhuman like Krauser, enhancing the danger he poses to you and clearly showing the power and value of this technology for narrative purposes. But nah, backflips are cool, and this entire section has been ruined. Ada used to shoot the knife out of his hand, now Luis does, because they went and made Luis a more important part of the story. What are they trying to do? Making simple characters that died way too early into interesting, long-staying characters that let you understand them and relate to them. That's a pretty soulless creative decision right there. And then the remake goes on to actually have a real fight with Krauser, using real-time knife parries and avoids, while exchanging important story-focused dialogue. Crowbcat completely omits this scene from his video, and I don't know why. I mean, it clearly isn't because he's only selecting things that support his narrative while ignoring anything that might contradict it. He just wouldn't do anything like that. Just like how I would never do that, and have never done that. He wouldn't say, just For example, show that when you ran out the timer in the original escape scene, it showed the island blowing up before saying you died, while in the remake the screen just goes white, making the viewer think they cut this moment, when in reality, in the original, when you escape safely, you don't get to see the island explode at all, and in the remake you actually get to see it explode when you escape, showing that this exact island explosion sequence that he's showing is absent is actually now just moved to the end of the escape sequence to give the finale a bigger, more satisfying feel than just escaping and being on the water. He definitely wouldn't make that mistake. He's too good. Well, I hope this video has... Oh, fuck, I just put my finger in salsa. God damn it. My teeth. Well, okay. Well, I hope this video has helped you see how right people are to call this game a soulless cash grab that ruined everything that was great about the original. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. And if you did buy it, burn it. And if you bought it digitally, burn your PC or console.